Hello, Masters. It's Miss Mogul, Chairidee Smith, and it's time to master your morning in the evening. Thank you all so much for your patience. A lot has been going on. I'm executing what I'm teaching and sharing with you, and God is blessing my business to just thrive and flourish. So it's been a while since I've been able to post. I'm a little bit behind, but trust me, it's for a good cause. So tonight we're going to do lesson 3, and hopefully right after that I'll be able to upload lesson 4, and I want you guys to begin posting about lesson 2's master class. A little bit more coming about that later, but it was certainly an enjoyable event, and I hope that you gleaned quite a bit from it, because that's what this is all about. So tonight, let's dive in. Tonight, it's lesson 3. Keep a portion of everything you earn. As you know, we are in the book, The 5 Lessons A Millionaire Taught Me by Richard Paul Evans. I hope by now you have the book and you're sharing. Some of our new masters, welcome to the group. Please go ahead, order the book. All of the lessons are posted here in the group, and you can catch up with us and it'll all be fine. By the way, we're getting to the end of the book. After lessons 3 and 4, we only have lesson 5 left, and that is the finale. And want to keep you tuned in, because I want to have a meeting, a kind of a gathering, a meet and greet to follow up after the book, and more coming regarding that a little bit later on. Anyway, let's get into the book. The 5 Lessons A Millionaire Taught Me by Richard Paul Evans. We're in lesson 3, keep a portion of everything you earn. Wanted to start tonight by telling you or giving you a strategy concerning your savings. Some of us need a plan. If you're anything like me, I love systems. If you give me a system to plug into, it's great. If you don't give me a system, I'll create one, because I just need order. So here's a way to organize your savings and also your contributions. A great way to look at that is tithing. Now, for some of you who are in the Christian tradition, as I am, we believe in tithing and giving to our churches and ministries. And we normally give 10% of our earnings. That's a great way to look at saving for yourself. So if you need an amount to begin saving, why not save 10% of everything you earn, just like you would use for your tithing, for your charitable contributions? Put it aside and pay yourself first. Now, I'm going to qualify the pay yourself first, because we want to pay down debt. And it's my philosophy. It makes sense to get out of debt so that you can save. But there's a strategy to even that. Some debt is good. So again, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But remember, 10% goes to you. Take it right off the top. After you give God 10%, then go right in and give it to yourself and your family, 10%, and then take care of those other obligations. And here's a way to strategize. First, build a discretionary fund. A discretionary fund is probably $500 to $1,000, $2,000 that you have in an account that's just liquid. If you need it for car repairs, or if the baby gets sick, or something happens and you and the spouse just need some money to handle a bill or what have you, you don't have to tap into the big savings. You have that discretionary fund there. So once you have met the goal of saving the designated amount for that discretionary fund, move down to the emergency fund. And here's where it gets a little bit bigger. The emergency fund is there for those times when either you're laid off of work and you need to continue to pay the mortgage. You need at least 3 to 6 months worth of income. Now, that's a pretty big amount for some of us, and we're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to save that? And I have children, I have debt, I have obligations. We can do this. It's just a matter of wrapping your mind around it, having some delayed gratification, putting your money in a different priority, and making it happen. So after you have the discretionary fund and you have now the emergency fund, now you can move down to the investment account. And here's where it gets really good. Put that money aside, so that when you're ready to invest in some vehicles that have compounding interest, and by the way, that's here in lesson 3 as well, now you have what you need to get started on that. And compound interest is a beautiful thing if it's on a principal and an investment. So first, start with a discretionary fund. $500, as small as $500, as large as $2,000. Then move ahead to an emergency fund. Here's where you get into about $5,000 to $10,000 if you can manage that. Then you move into an investment account, and that's where the sky is the limit. You just decide how far you want to go with that. But keep a portion of everything you earn so that you can begin to really invest in building wealth. Now, how much you save dictates how far you want to go financially. And here's a way to look at it. If you only put a little bit of gas in the car, then you can't drive 80 miles an hour on a third of a tank of gas and get very far, can you? No, you can't. But if you have a full tank of gas in that car and you put it on 80, and by the way, I drive 80, so I know, you can get to that destination a lot farther and a lot quicker. So here, the same thing when it comes to your investing and your savings. If you don't want to be aggressive initially, that's fine. Just know it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to where you want to go. But if you really want to get aggressive and fill up your financial vehicle with all of the necessary gas that's needed to move you to the next destination, get aggressive with it. Don't be crazy, because remember, you have to have a standard of living. But this really is about a lifestyle change. It's a commitment. Remember, in lesson 1, we said decide to be wealthy. So with that decision came the commitment to a lifestyle change, which means at some point we have to employ delayed gratification, knowing that the end result of that is going to be the financial portfolio and the financial security that we need. And by the way, with the economy being as volatile as it is now, it's important, you all, that we have healthy personal economies. We don't know what the power of the dollar is going to continue to be in the current market. So that's a reason why we need to get to those investment accounts a lot sooner, whether it's in metals, whether it's in gold, silver, whether it's in the stock market, whether it's in real estate with REITs. We have to get to that point sooner rather than later. So have that in mind. Okay, enough about that. Move on to the next thing. Richard Paul Evans says we should save, and go figure, he says we should save a minimum of 10% of our ongoing salary and 90% to 100% of our side earnings. So that means if you just have a 9-to-5 job and you have what we call a side hustle, and that side hustle could be a side business of some kind where you earn paychecks or dividends from the side job, then you take 10% of what you do every day to keep the family afloat, put 10% of that away for savings. But on those other projects where you have side incomes coming in, commit to saving 90 to 100% of that, and that's going to get you further down the road a lot faster. He says, Richard Paul Evans says, research shows that most American millionaires save 15 to 20% of their income. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start somewhere. So let's commit to it. Let's save. Let's move forward. Now, here's where it gets good. The book talks about the power of interest. Now, some of you may be novice to investing, so we don't want to take anything for granted and just think you know what these terminologies are. So, what is compounding interest? Compound interest is added to the principal of a deposit, meaning a lump sum of money, or to a loan, which is debt, so that the interest also earns interest on it. Now, let's make it simple. It's interest on top of interest. So let's just say that you have an investment and you have a principal, a deposit, pardon me. You have a deposit and you have with that investment. So when you have an investment that has compounding interest, that means the interest that your money earns on that particular investment is now being duplicated several times over. So your interest is earning interest. Your deposit, the principal is growing, but so is the money that has been added to the principal. So it's growing exponentially. It's essentially like this. This is the principal or the deposit. Here is the interest. When you have compounding interest, your money is doing like this rather than like this. It's doing like this. Make sense? A visual always helps. Anyway, moving on with that. So it's important that we get to the point to where we can have compounding interest in our investments. Now, and I'll post some resources for you to do some calculations there. Here's where I want to give an speak with a financial advisor about how to use compounding interest and what vehicles your family should use. Also, I have an upcoming seminar, Investing for Women, and it's also open to guys. It just happens to be that my market is women. Please engage. Go to those kinds of seminars and learn how to do this. Now, saving and investing may take a leap of faith, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, anything worth doing takes faith. Okay?